So the first step to rigging is that we want to go into, actually we'll just stay in layout. So the basic default view. And the first thing we want to do is we want to move our character up a little bit so it's ground level. Well, I'm having a hard time moving him up. There you go. So we want to move him a little bit upwards, and we want to pretend this is like the ground. If you want, you could add a plane. Oh. Here you go, a plane. You could increase there, just so we have like some kind of ground level, because when we import it into a game, we want it to be ground level and not going through the ground. So now we want to open a new window here using the little plus thing at the corner, and we're gonna change our, oh, I think I'm getting ahead of myself a little bit here. First we want to do rigging. So to do that, we want to add something called an armature, and you go Shift A, and then one of the options that you could find here is armature, and what you'll find is like a little peg looking thing. So these are like bones. Well, they're basically called bones. What we want to do is do our base bone, which will be what will move the entire body of our character. And so you move him up into the model, but the first thing you could see, we already have a problem, is that we can't really see inside. So the solution to that is you go on the, so there's two options here. There's like a one which is like a little man, and one is a bone. You want to go on the one with the little man, and one of the options here, viewport display, you want to click on in front, which will be kind of X-ray vision. It will always display the bone no matter in which direction you are. So that's really useful. And usually when making models, especially characters, the base bone, you want it at their hips, because the hips are like kind of the base of the body, I guess. I don't know. Don't trust my words. I'm just kind of speculating here. So now what we want to do is make like a colonne vertébrale, a vertebrae. So to do that, you can go in edit mode. Right now I'm in edit mode, and you could select the tip of this peg and move it around. So since this is going to be like the hip, we want to keep it maybe at the leg level and make it quite small, because we want to form our vertebrae using extrude. So E. So here we could make one vertebrae going halfway across the body, and we could do another one for the head. Actually, I'll actually make this peg bigger, which will be the entirety of the back, and then we'll have one that's just the head. I will just move the head, and you could place it how you want. You could use the numpad to change views, just to make sure that they're well aligned. And we also want to make a bone for the tail, so we can move around the tail. So we could add another bone like this using Shift A and move it at the base of the tail. and make sure it's well aligned. I think it is. Not really sure. It's a little bit offset. I'm gonna move it, center it a little bit better. I mean, doesn't really matter. Good enough. And then move it to the base of the tail. Okay, now it's not right. That's not what we want. So I'm just gonna go to this view and move it back into position. All right, there you go. So that's basically the back of our model. We're gonna make it simple. And now the next step is we want to add rigs to the legs, because the legs are the most important part of this character, obviously. Now I want to add another bone for the leg, but it's not working. It's because I'm pressing Control and not Shift A. That's why. And I'm gonna select this bone, move it towards the legs, and whoop, have it kind of aligned that position, I guess. It's good enough. And have it, so this is kind of the pelvis. I'm kind of replicating a pelvis here. So it's just gonna be one small bone going towards the butt, and then I'm gonna do one long bone going towards the knee, like that. There you go. And then one long bone for the calf, like that. And I'm gonna do 2 bones for the foot because I want to be able to control the toes. So I'm just gonna center this bone a little bit because it's not in the middle of the foot. There you go. And now we have our leg. So for the leg, since I'm too lazy to recreate these bones for the other side, you could simply just select all of these and you do duplicate, so Shift D and scale. Well, now I have legs, but you right click, put them back into place, and then you do scale Y. So we only want to invert it into Y axis. So scale Y -1. There you go. And then you could just translate it in the Y direction. And there we go. We have perfectly equal legs. And the last bone that we want to do is for our fins. Maybe have our shark flap his hands a little bit. Move them around. So I keep pressing Control A, but it's always Shift A that I should press. Okay, I'm gonna move this bone towards the arms, well, the fins, right there. And select tip and just move it towards the end of the fin. There you go. I duplicate it, so Shift D, right click, put it back into place, scale, S for scale, Y axis -1. There you go. And then you could move it into Y axis towards the same position. There you go. The wings should flap really fast. We'll do the best. I don't know if I'll be able to do too much animation because it might take a long time. We will see, but I'll try doing flappy wings, not the game. Okay, so I think we're pretty much done our bones. We have a basic bone structure here, and I don't think we need to go like too far into it. So now what you want to do is you select the body first and then the bones. the orders sometimes matter in Blender, so you have to keep in mind that. So you select the body first and then the bones, and then you press Control P, and it will show an option, set parent to, and what you want is armature deform with automatic weights. So the weights basically will tell the model how to move the vertices with the bones, and you'll see in a second. So now, if everything worked well, you could go into, you select the bones and you go into pose mode, and if we, for example, decide to move the leg, it should follow. What? It didn't work. Did not do it properly? Control P with automatic weights. Hello. Maybe I didn't select it. We'll see in a second. So we go back into pose mode, and there you go. It's probably because I didn't press it. So now our bones move, well, the model itself is going to move with the bones attached to it, like magic. And the next step we want to do is, I'm going to explain to you something pretty important. And it's a good trick to learn. And it's something that actually gets me every single time, and I have to Google every single time because it's really annoying. So a problem that we might get is that when we have disconnected parts in our model, for example, our eyeballs, they don't have any bones attached to it. So what will happen when I move this bone upwards and downwards, the head, is that the eyes will remain in place and they'll get disconnected. So there you go. So obviously we do not want this. But I know a solution to save the day. And this will work for any parts in a model that you might have that are disconnected from the main body. So for example, clothes, or like eyeballs, and maybe like the legs maybe that I just showed you. Maybe they don't, I think they're only connected with the pelvis bone that I added here, but if it weren't for that, they might have not moved with the rest of the body. So we don't really want that. Actually, they're actually behaving like that right now. But the main issue we have right now is the eyeballs. So to fix this, I'm going to get out of pose mode and I'm going to select our model. You want to go in, come on, select the model, go in edit mode, and I'm just going to temporarily disconnect our eyeballs from the main body. And if you remember, to select disconnected parts, you could press L, and if you want to disconnect them, you press P, my bad. And it will show a separate option here, and separate by selection, and there you go. So now, for these eyeballs, actually, I'm going to do it for the pupils as well. I'm going to separate them from the bigger eyeballs. You want to add a modifier called data transfer and move it. You want to move it before, the order here of these modifiers matters. And you want to move this data transfer modifier before the armature, so that it takes precedence. We want the data transfer to be applied before the armature. So what this data transfer does is that it kind of any modification that will occur on maybe the eyeballs, it will apply as well to the pupils. So to select the eyeballs, you could use this little selection tool and then just click on the eyeball. I think that's all you have to do. No, you have to select vertex data, and I I think that's enough. Oh, okay, I think I missed a step here. So before I finish fixing the data transfer, I just want to mention something important, is that there's a way for you to name these bones just to make it more easy to follow. And so I just selected the bone, and then I went on the little bone option at the bottom here, and it will like show the settings for the bone that you just selected. And the first option is like to name it. So a good way of keeping organized and is to name each bone. So I want to, here will be back, this will be a hip, this will be tail, and then this will be the right pelvis, and this will be the left pelvis. Oop. I'm just gonna keep it like that for now, but so I'm gonna go back to our eyeball, and now the reason why I did that is because in the data transfer modifier, it asks me which vertex I want to transfer the data to, and the vertex group layers, one of them, now you can see all the bones that I have, and I want to connect it to the head. And the same here, I want to connect it to the head, and I think now it should work. Crossing my fingers. No! Oh god. Disappointment. Then you guys need to select vertex group. I'll try that. These modifiers are never obvious. Okay, so I solved the problem, kind of. So what I did is I select the eyeballs. So I selected vertex group, and then I moved it with the head. But maybe if I do all layers, it'll like work better. I'm just gonna try something real quick. All layers. Okay, I want to select this again, and then pose mode. Okay, so I really actually have to select the head. So I just wanted to test that for a second. So there you go. So these two modifiers move with the head, and you have to select vertex groups. If I think I should select the main cube for the pupils as well, because I think that might move them better. I'm just testing here right now. I'm just kind of messing around. Okay, so pose mode. Let's see if it worked. I mean, it worked. It's not perfect, but you know what? Fuck it. At least it works somewhat. I feel like the pupils aren't like the main eyeballs are behaving like I want, but the pupils are still not really following the rest, which is pretty annoying. But maybe sometimes I have to deal. Maybe if I join these, Control J. I don't think that's gonna change anything, but we'll see. Yeah, no, it doesn't change. Okay, well, doesn't matter. I'm just gonna move on, and the next step we want to do is maybe fix the weights of each bone connected to the body. I'll show you why. It's because if, for example, we want to choose this arm, the only thing we want this bone to be moving is the fin and nothing else. But what might happen is that, well, I'm going to show you. Look at that. So it's morphing the entire body. Obviously, we do not want that, because that's not a normal fin behavior. So I'm going to do Control Z. There you go, put it back into place. Actually, another way of putting bones back to place. So if I, for example, have this bone all the way over here, and it's like destroying the entire body. Horrible. You could, I mean, one of the ways of doing it is Alt-R, Alt-J, and Alt-S will like revert your transforms, but if I press Alt-R, this is what happens, is that my Radeon graphics card options show up. So another way of fixing this, and if Alt-R doesn't work, is you do F3 on the search bar and you press clear, and the first option is clear pose transforms, and there you go, it just resets everything. So that's a nice little trick to know. So yeah, and weight paint. We don't want, you saw what happened here? We don't want that, obviously. So to fix that, you could select your body, you select your main character, and you go into the little triangle thing here, which is mesh data. And here it will show all of the bones on your character. And you could select, right now, actually I'm going to rename this bone, these two bones real quick so I can know what I'm dealing with real quick. So I'm going to select that, and the bones, go in edit mode, and so this is the fin right, and this is the fin left. So I renamed those fins, and I'm gonna select the main body again, go on this little thingy, and now if you select fin, you could go into weight paint mode, and there you go. So this will show you how harshly parts of the bones will move parts of the model. So here, red means it's going to move like entirety. It will move the part of the model in its entirety. And the more blue it becomes, the less strong of an influence it has. So I want to get rid of any blue influence that aren't surrounded around this fin. So obviously this is light blue, and that shouldn't be moving with the rest. And this is like the projection it has on the rest of shark is way too much in my taste. So you go weight 0, which will remove all of the weight, and then you could select the parts that you don't want, well, you want to modify. There you go. And around the fin, whoop, everything that has a little bit of blue. I'm gonna hide this plane to do this. So I'm gonna select around the fin, everything but the fin, just so it can be precise. Whoop. There you go. And it goes all the way to the other side, I think, which is not good. Okay. There you go. Okay, I'm gonna increase the strength just to make our lives a little bit easier. Increase our radius to quite big, so we don't have to, I mean, could do big chunks at a time. And there you go. I'm just gonna remove that and remove it all around the body. On the back, there you go. Actually, I could just go ham because the fin itself isn't selected, so I could just like woo. Okay, everything is nice and dark blue, which is what I want. And if I go back into object mode and select the bones, go into pose mode and move it. It's moving the eyeball for some reason, which is not great. I might have missed something. Go back into weight paint mode. Oh, I know why it's not selecting eyeball. It's because the eyeball, I forgot to join it back into the rest of the body. There you go. So, okay, go back to weight paint, and there you go. Now I can see the eyeball. So I'm just gonna select this, and there's like one little vertex that's not getting selected. There you go. Like hit it in the back. Alright, so I got rid of... There's like one little dot here, which is annoying me. Look at that. Do you see it? Like, what is that? Can I select it? Okay, I guess I'm just gonna have to deal with that. Alright, I'm just gonna test real quick if the bone worked. And there you go. So it's not moving nearly as much as it did before. And I could really focus the movement on the fin. And for some reason, a tiny... a little bit of the eyeball, but I couldn't really access it, so I don't know what to say about that. I'm just going to clear pose transform. And maybe there's a way for me to see behind the eyeball. Just select this body. Ugh. There you go, and hide it like that. Maybe this will help. Ah, I guess I did it. All right. So yeah, like it's kind of blue in the back side of the eye. So just actually, I keep forgetting I could select it. So I could just clear it out like that. Okay, so we're done with that fin. I could do the same thing for the wings actually, because I think the wings might have the same problem. There you go. Ugh. Okay, and now I'm going to select the left fin and go back into weight paint mode. Select this eyeball and turn it blue. I think we're good. So back to object mode. And I'm just gonna test them real quick. Go to pose mode. And yeah, seems to work pretty good. There you go. Flappy wings. And so I could just like test the rest of the body, see if it like is behaving the way I want. This will move the entire thing. Oh, okay. So this is not great. Like I just showed you that if I move this downwards, the legs aren't moving with it. And to fix that, you could select the bones here, and you could set the pelvis bone as the parent. So these bones will follow the behavior of the parent bone. So to do that, so I selected the child bones first, and then you could do Control P and set parent to option shows up. And you want, oh actually, I think I need to be in edit mode. So select the child bones, and then the parent bone, and then Control P. Okay, now I have different options. That's a pretty annoying part of Blender is that like in different modes you might have different options, but just remember, or if you don't remember, you Google it. So now I have make parent 2, and there's connected and keep offset. So the difference between connected and keep offset is that if you make the parent connected, is the child bones will all stick to it like that, and obviously we don't want this. So we want to keep the offset. Control P, keep offset, and there you go. Instead, just have like little lines connected to the tip of the bone, and then if we go back into pose mode, we could select the parent bone. I'm selecting the back of the bone because if I just move this, like the tail like stays in place, so I have to select both of them. So if I select them, now we could see that the entire body is moving with it, except for the pupils for some reason. Ugh, these pupils are gonna be deaf on me. So I'm gonna do same thing for the fins as well, because they're kind of doing the same problem. So you select the fins and select the pelvis, and then Control P, keep offset. And if I go back to pose mode, it should work. Yeah, there. Now the fins are moving with it. These eyeballs, dude. What am I gonna do with them? What am I gonna do? Why did the data transfer? Why? Just why everything? Why? Vertex data, vertex groups. Now the options shows. Okay. I'm gonna do head, I guess, and by order. I don't know. I don't even know what these things mean. Great tutorial, Rose. You don't explain anything. Alright. Oh, look at that. Now it works even better than before. I solved the problem somehow. What did I do? I did nothing else different than before. The only thing I did different is like by order here. That's the only thing I did different. Okay. Okay, so now everything should work, should move together. Let's test this real quick. There you go. Woo! Okay, so now I think we're good to start animating. Usually some people on YouTube will add maybe like an armature. Actually, I have to go in edit mode. Sometimes they'll add like a bone at the base, and this will be like the bone to move our character around. Which is, you know, it's a pretty good idea. I think we could do that. Instead of like always selecting the pelvis and the tail at the same time, you could just select this. So what you do is you select, so this will be basically the parent of the entire model. So you select our pelvis, and actually I called this a hip. This is the hip bone. So yeah. Wait. Control P. There you go. Keep offset and pose mode. Hopefully this works. Ugh. Okay. Almost worked. Go back into edit mode, and then since this tail is moving independently, we want it to be a child of this bone as well. So I selected the tail and then the bottom bone, and then Control P, keep offset. So now there's like these two bones are being controlled by this like base one, and now everything should move together. Yay! Except what? Okay, except for the eyeball. So we'll just make sure it doesn't move past this distance, because what is going on? All right, well, maybe it has to do with the weights or something, but okay, I just want to move on. So we're gonna start animating and forget about the eyeball. So what I did, so I just opened another window, and I want to go into, these are like all of the different options for views. I'm gonna go into, where is it? Dope sheet. There you go. And there's like different options for dope sheet. We want action editor. So this will allow us to create actions. So walking, running, flapping wings, whatever, you name it. So if you move to the right here, we could create a new action. And we could start animating. So for animation, you have well, which animation should I start with? I was thinking, so someone suggested twerking, someone suggested flapping wings. I could combine both of these. So I'm gonna just call this twerk. You could name your actions. So the first thing we want, come on, zoom in. There you go. So the first thing we want is some hip action. So first I want to be on frame 0 or 1. Usually there are ways to do inverse kinematics. So if, for example, I would have moved the hips down, the legs would move with it without moving, but I forgot how to do it, unfortunately. So I'm sorry. I'm just gonna do it the hard, annoying way. So I'm gonna move our creature down a little bit, and let's move these hips upwards. It's gonna move like that. Maybe just move the pupils around. Yeah, you know what? We'll just move the pupils around a little bit. Like that. Like, make them look upwards. Okay, so we have our first pose. So what we want to do is select everything. Select everything, and then to save our first pose, we press I, and there's a bunch of options here. What we want is location, rotation, and scale. So you select that, and here it shows, wait, I'm just gonna try something real quick. If I select all of this, location, rotation, scale. Okay, now, so it didn't do it in object mode, but if you go in pose mode, it'll actually save all of the pose data that I just applied. So make sure to be in pose mode. Object mode works for like maybe the eyeballs, but definitely not for the pose. So you have to be careful with that. Alright, and then we're gonna do our second pose. So maybe we could go and frame, how long do we want this animation? Maybe 30 frames. That's a good number. What we want to do is the last position. And the reason why I want to do the first and the last position is because Blender will interpolate all of the movements between those 2 points automatically, which is why when I did Super Shopper, I wanted to do a 3D game, because animating, when you could just interpolate the movement, is very easy. So we're on frame 30, and I'm just gonna position our model upwards. I just noticed that the wings aren't following as well. So we already know how to fix that, thankfully. Just gonna go back to object mode real quick and select these wings. Nope, not the wings. Hello. And select that and disconnect them, and we're gonna add a modifier, and they seem to already have one, which is great. Select the cube. Okay, select the wings, and then select the cube, and then all layers back. We want the back, and by order, I don't know. Was that what I did before? Who knows? Who knows? Just gonna test it real quick to see if I'm not like screwing everything up. Okay, I mean, it seems to work. There's some things that you could do for the bones to make your life easier, because like when I move this back, it's not moving the rest of the arm, which is unfortunate, but I mean, maybe I could go in edit mode and select that, make it as a parent as well. Not like just replace the parent from the hip to the back. And now if I move the hip, it won't. Oh, never mind. Okay, I fixed the problem. Make sure to be in like one of the views from the side or like the front, because as you can see, I kind of moved it sideways, and that's not good. We want it to remain as center as possible. Press I and save it. Lock, rot, scale. There you go. Oh, I forgot to select everything. Then you press I, lock, rot, scale. There you go, we got it. So, so now we're gonna see the magical interpolation between these two positions. And we could press play. Actually, I need to go on frame 0. And you press play, and it should interpolate and move naturally. Whoa! Crazy. It's going very slowly. It's probably because 30 frames is a bit too much. So if you want to move keyframes, you could press G, and it'll like do them faster. And here there's the start and end of our loop of animation, and since we're only doing how many frames is that? 12. We do that. We could cut it down to 12. Okay, so now we want it to go back to the initial position. So I'm just gonna double this to 24, and you can select all of these first frames. You could also use B to select the frames, the transforms that you want. And as before, you could do Control D, which will duplicate it, and you could position it at the end. So now we have the beginning, end, and middle positions that we want. And if we press go, it will loop. Not great, but I mean something. Okay, so now we're 13 frames. So right now our twerking is kind of, you know, it's not there. I think we should add like a down movement, you know, like a really big squatting movement. So we're gonna have that squatting movement should be between our end movement, our end position, and our beginning position, I think. And the more like positions that you add, the more accurate, or you know, sometimes the interpolation won't act the way that you want. So the more detail that you add to your animation, the more it will do what you want. Looks like he's ready to like for liftoff. Like, phew. 3, 2, 1. While he leaves his eyeballs behind. All right. Okay, so remember not to press edit while you're doing poses. So to select everything and then press A, location, rotation, and scale. And then I want to, what do I want to do? What do I want to do? I'm gonna see what our result is. Okay, so here between frames 1 and 3 or 2, it's going a little bit too fast. And so I'm just gonna move them apart a little bit. One of the animations, the eyeballs actually comes out. Oh no. The pupil. Maybe I could fix that real quick though. And now I'm gonna press I, location, rotation, scale. And now no pupils are gonna... Alright, we're getting somewhere. I don't really know what, but there's some movement going on. What if I have... Maybe I should have this full squat position as the first position and the mid squat as the second position. Maybe it'll make a better transition. So I'm just moving them around with G. And let's see. Oh, I forgot that. I'm just gonna zoom in here a little bit so we could see the. Come on, zoom. I thought that was gonna show me options, but it didn't. Okay. Alright, so this is the final position. I just want to move it here. No, that's not where I want it. Control Z. Okay, I want to duplicate this first position, and this will be the last position as well, like that. Whoop. Select this. This will be the middle position. Alright, so as you can see, like the feet are kind of moving backwards. I don't really want that. So I'm gonna try to... So I'm gonna actually move him forward a little bit, just so it matches. So I'm gonna save that, and now it should stay relatively in the same position. I don't know. Maybe he's moving too high up. I think I'll adjust that a little bit. I don't know what I did, but at least I showed you how to do. At least I showed you how to animate, I guess. I'm gonna do walking now. I think we're done for twerking. What what you could do is, if you really want like accurate twerking, you could look at YouTube's online about the movements of twerking and try to replicate it, or you could just watch a video if you get distracted. But yeah, you'll get a better idea of how to replicate the movements, and it will be more realistic. I don't really want to watch videos of people twerking because this is a PG stream after all. And I don't want to spend too much time looking up twerking, so I'm just gonna do walking and call it a day, I guess. So I could add a new action with the little thing, the 2 pages here, and walk. I'm just call it walk. And so walking is probably the most important part of game development. If you make a character, you want them to walk around, so it's a good thing to know how to do. So as you remember, you could press F3 and then clear pose transforms, and we reset from the start. And for walking, I think we're just gonna move. I'm just gonna show like how to move the legs, and I mean, you could move other parts of bodies, of course, but I mean, we're gonna keep it simple. So I'm just gonna delete everything here. And if you want to go back to your other twerking thing, like you could always select them here and you know, switch from one action to the other. For some reason I didn't reset the pose, so I'm just gonna do it again. And so for walking, the legs are independent, so we start with one leg, and we start with the end positions that we want our legs to be in, and then we have like the middle position afterwards. There you go. So select everything and save the location, rotation, and scale. We want to do the end position, and we're gonna go, I don't know how long this is, 13, so frame 7, let's say. Actually, it will like extend this one just to make it even, so 7 is actually in the middle. So now we want the end position, and so it will just be the complete inverse of what we just did. Like that. Alright, so then you select everything, location, rotation, scale, and now I'm just going to duplicate the first frame and duplicate it. Hello? Okay, put it at the end and play. Let's see. So, I mean, we have a very basic walking movement here, but it's not perfect because look at the feet, they're kind of just staying into position. You don't really want that. So, they're kind of going like through the floor, and like in a game, like we wouldn't want this. So, to fix this, let's see, if I'm in this frame, I'm gonna go to like the half frames now. So, this frame I should rotate it upwards, and at this position of a walk cycle, your toes will be the closest, well, will have most pressure onto the floor, so I'm gonna make it look like he's in the middle of a walking pose. And then the other leg will probably still be extended into the air. Like that. So I'm gonna save all that. And like for walking as well, it's good to have like a video or something as a point of reference. So here looks good, like it's kind of, yeah. but then the other foot is not really doing what we want. So here, I'm just gonna have it. We don't want, I'm just trying to avoid it going like through the floor. So I'm just fixing little parts of this cycle of animation. So I think this beginning part is good. Oh, it's still going through the floor here. So I'm gonna rotate this. There you go. Okay, now it should never go through the floor. Yeah, there you go. Now we're good. And then I'm gonna do the same thing here. So like our leg is still, I'm gonna go in the middle position again. Our legs are going through the floor. So I'm just gonna adjust that a little bit. So now it should look slightly better. Yeah, you know what? It looks pretty good. Obviously there's like no other movement, so it kind of looks eerie that his legs are the only thing moving. But I mean, it's good. It's good. So I'm gonna save this in the Blender and then call it shark legs rig. Maybe yeah, rig. I'll just call it rigging. And save it. Okay, and then I'm gonna open Unity. What I want to do here is why do I have two versions? Okay, I'm gonna export this into FBX, and I'm gonna put it in downloads for now because I don't know where else to save it. Yeah, we could go into Unity and just add to our project. I'm gonna do a folder models, and here I'll just drag and drop our shark. Oh, I accidentally forgot to get rid of everything. Okay. What happened here? I forgot to delete the hidden parts of this model. So make sure to do that before... Oh, I don't mean to press play. Okay, make sure to delete the other parts of the model before importing. So delete. Okay, so I'm just going to delete... So we want to delete the sun, the plane. I didn't see the picture in here, so well, I mean, it looks like it doesn't exist anymore, so I'm just gonna delete that too. And I'm gonna delete this sphere, which was supposed to be me trying when I was attempting to do a normal map. Okay, I'm gonna export it again, but this time I'm gonna call it something rigging 2. There you go. Okay, so rigging 2 is still not there. There you go. That's what we want. Okay, now we only have our shark. Woo! We did it. So the first thing I usually do when importing a new model into a scene is that I want to go into materials. So, okay, let's assume Unity is not being stupid and you managed to get these options here. You could go extract material and go into textures or whatever you want to save your materials. Go there. Okay, and then in textures, we'll have, I think this is the material that we just saved. And you could use your diffuse, just drag and drop, and have the normal drag and drop in there too. And then here, for the material, for the diffuse, you put it in albedo or albedo, I don't know how to say it. And there you go. The material is applied to your character. And then for the normal, you just put it on normal map. And then, oh, wow. I mean, the normal map will apply. I don't know why. This texture is not marked as normal map. Fix it. And apparently you could create a normal map like that. I just learned this right now. So, I mean, it looks horrible. And my mouse is not working. There you go. So, I'm actually gonna remove this because I don't really like how the way it looks. So, to remove it, you just go all the way up and press none. So there we go. We have material. And then it's too sensitive. Okay. For the animations, find our little shark. I don't remember where it is. Where is it? There's too many goddamn models here. There it is. Okay. So here's our animations. You could actually see them here. And that's nothing. There you go. Twerk. Actually, this looks a lot better in real time. Okay, and we could have walk. Let's see if walks works. It's very, very immobile body. It's quite magical. Alright, so we have our animations. So we could add animator. Why is it not working? Animator. The component animator can't be added because Shark Legs Rigging 2 already contains the same component. Alright. We could create a new animator. And animator controller. I'm just going to call it Shark. And here, model. Here, I think a good thing to do is add the loop because we want it to loop. And but I think you could just, so like I just selected, this like shows everything that's like connected to this model, and you could, I don't know why it's asking me to import these, but whatever. I could actually select these and drag them into this animator controller. So I have twerk and walk, and here you could add the options that you want. Alright, so I think we're good. You don't need a Unity tutorial on how to do transitions between animations, and I think I showed you pretty much everything until well, how to put the textures and the animation into Unity and actually have it in our game. Okay, and we want to see it twerk to conclude. I wish I could like full screen this. So I think that concludes our 3-day workshop of Blender, and we kind of covered everything we had to for making a character, putting it in a game, adding colors to it, and adding animations to it. So I hope you guys enjoyed. Had a lot of fun, and maybe in the future I'll do other tutorials, because I think, you know, it keeps people engaged, and especially during like the coronavirus outbreak and everything, like we're all staying home, we're kind of bored, and having, you know, just a little bit of fun, like learning new things like this is a good pastime. So if you guys have like suggestions of things that you would want workshops on, like just let us know in the Discord, like suggestions, and maybe we'll consider doing it if we have like enough experience. Like obviously I don't have like that much experience in Blender. I just kind of know the basics, but I feel like it's useful to show at least the basics, because a lot of you don't know it. And yeah, just add suggestions for any tutorials you guys would want, and we'll think about doing them. Unless it's something really complicated, like how to do a ray tracer, or like, I don't know, how to do an engine from scratch. I don't know if we could do that. Unless someone's very motivated, which will not be me, unfortunately. Well, maybe one day, but not right now. And yeah, I don't know what else to say. Thank you for watching and keeping me company. Hope I did a good job. Bye!